Alright, so I'm going to talk to you today about staying still, which is an underrated ability, and also very few humans can do it because it's against your nature. And I'm talking about staying still at a precision point. This is a technique. This is how you need to think about it. Now, when you are in business or when you are doing something, anything at all, you need to have a clear defined target. This target will determine whether or not you are where you need to be or whether you are not where you need to be. And this target will regulate the rate of change that you need to have. If you are 80% of where you need to be, the rate of change is lesser than if you are 20% of where you need to be. In life, there is often a large rate of change necessary in order to get to the promised land. But when you get to the promised land, you need to slow down the rate of change, meaning you need to not move quite so much, which is a technique in itself. But the beginning of the technique starts with the foundation of knowing where you're going. When you're almost there, all you need to do is move a few inches to get there. When you're far away, you could even jog. But if you are there and then you jog or you sprint, you will overshoot. Know your target so that you can aim. That's the very first element. Secondly, you need to understand yourself, or keep to hand the crucial information that can throw you off of staying still in the right moment. Realize that as a human being, you have a tendency to, should you be a normal human being, consistently move. But it's also in your nature, and it's also part of getting caught in the rhythms of life. Normally, you're in one of many situations where you need to push. Could be that you're in a dangerous situation where you have to get production up such that you have to work like a maniac. This is not always. And if you try to work like a maniac continuously, realize that you will overdo it. You cannot maintain a sprint for 30 minutes. Your heart will explode, or you will get massively tired. You need to pace yourself correctly for the race you are running. You need to also understand your own tendencies. You need to know your own tendencies. What do you fall into in peace times? And be aware of that. If you fall into drinking when it's peaceful, if you fall into movie watching when it's peaceful, if you fall into any odd distraction when it's peaceful, you need to actually record in your mind this and make sure that you observe so that you can keep your production going up. The main idea is if you produce a lot of good stuff in your life, a lot of good products, a lot of good money, a lot of good anything, if you can increase that as much as possible and make it go up, your life will improve. If you can't increase that, or if you roller coaster too much, it will decrease the peaks that you can hit, you know. The prime of your life, depending on how well you go about it, can be a perfect prime, or it can be a not really a prime at all even. Do you see what I mean? And the difference is having a target, and the difference is knowing when you're in range of the target. There are no absolutes. You will be 80% where you need to be, or if you're super lucky, 90%, or 95%, or for a split second it'll be 100%, but you will not 100% be for any extended period of time where you need to be. You'll be almost. But you need to also understand that the ideal scene is this almost. We live in a world where it is almost. But if you know the nature of the world and the laws that govern it, you won't be stressed that you are almost a millionaire. You'll understand that, okay, it's supposed to be that way. You won't be stressed that you almost have the perfect relationship, because it's supposed to be that way, and you'll know that. You won't be stressed that you're almost at the skill level you need to be, because the nature of the world is almost. And if you can be at peace with the almost nature of the world, the ever-changing nature of the world, then you can actually have peace. Or you can almost have peace. A very, very perfect understanding of the world. It's a changing entity. Very perfect understanding of life. It's a changing entity. But should you understand that it's a changing entity, then you will know that, alright, well, within this changing entity should be that this is where the promised land is. And when you get to the promised land, the technique to master is don't move too much. Inch away at getting to the rest of the way. Slight improvements. And reducing ever so slightly the things that take away from your ability to be easily in the promised land and stay there. Do you see? And that's the idea. Get to the promised land, stay there, don't move. Do not get to the promised land and continue walking. You will end up in the desert, and that's all. A simple concept, a concept that needs to be well timed, but it is the concept that will transition you into power. Realize that money, which is illiquid, is what forms up wealth. When you bought the properties, when you bought the jewelry, when you bought the art, this is what makes up the wealth, because it's not moving, and you can pass down to the next of your kin, so on and so forth, and it's not going to go anywhere. That's what makes it wealth. So you need to understand that, okay, there is a point where you need to make things illiquid and make them not move quite so fast. And this is what makes you able to ascend to power, rather than being in a constant back and forth struggle. I hope this is understandable. I hope I'll put it forward in the correct way. It's not always motion. Yeah? Slow and steady wins the race. Slow and steady.